What Marcus learned about her body before it was too late. Marcus had been with Diane for 9 years. 9 years, 2 kids, a mortgage, a dog named after a footballer neither of them watched anymore.
By every external measure, every measure the world uses to decide whether a relationship is working, they were fine. But Diane had stopped reaching for him. Not dramatically, not with a conversation or an argument or a confession. She just slowly, quietly, over the course of about 2 years, stopped. She would turn toward her side of the bed a little earlier. She would find reasons to stay up later. She was warm with him, kind even, but the particular kind of warmth that used to pull them together had become something more like companionship. And Marcus told himself it was normal. 9 years, 2 kids, that is just what happens. He told himself that until the night Diane sat across from him at the kitchen table after the children were asleep and said the sentence that changed everything. She said, "I don't think you've ever really known what I need, and I don't think I ever told you, and I think that's both of our fault." Marcus did not sleep that night.
Not because he was angry, not because he felt accused, because somewhere in the hours between midnight and dawn, he realized something that no one had ever taught him. That the physical distance between him and Diane was not about love, was not about attraction, was not about the 9 years of life that had accumulated between them.
It was about a gap in his knowledge, a specific, fixable, deeply important gap that nobody, not his father, not his friends, not any conversation he had ever been part of, had ever bothered to address. This video is what Marcus learned and what he did with it.
What Marcus didn't know, and what most men don't. What Marcus discovered, what most men discover far too late, if they discover it at all, is that female pleasure and male pleasure do not operate on the same timeline, the same anatomy, or the same conditions.
And the gap between what he knew and what she needed had been quietly present in their relationship for years, not because he didn't care, but because he had never been given the map. We covered the anatomy in our previous video, the orgasm gap, the clitoral structure, the research that shows between 70 and 80% of women cannot orgasm through penetration alone. If you haven't watched that one, the link is above. Start there. This video goes one layer deeper, because Marcus's problem was not just anatomical, it was relational. It was the accumulated weight of years of intimacy that had never quite reached her, that had always stopped just short of what she actually needed, and the quiet resignation that had settled into the space where genuine connection used to live. And if any part of that sounds familiar, if you recognize something of yourself in Marcus, this video is for you. What Diane could not say. Here is the part of Marcus and Diane's story that matters most, and the part that the research explains with striking clarity. Diane had not been withholding information. She had not decided to be difficult or distant or unreachable. She had simply never been given the language for what she needed. And in the absence of that language, she had done what research shows the majority of women do. She had quietly adapted. She had reduced her own expectations. She had told herself that this was just how it was, that the version of intimacy she was experiencing was probably close enough to what intimacy was supposed to feel like. Dr. Sarah Chadwick and Dr. Sari Van Anders at the University of Michigan studied this phenomenon in depth. Their research found that women consistently reported what the researchers termed partner-focused orgasm concern, a pattern in which women actively managed or suppressed their own pleasure to protect their partner's ego, to avoid seeming too demanding. Or simply because they had absorbed a cultural message that their pleasure was secondary, complicated, and not worth the disruption of asking for directly. Diane was not unusual. She was, statistically, the majority. And Marcus, good, loving, present in every other way Marcus, had no idea. Because she had never told him. And she had never told him because she had never been taught that she was allowed to. The conversation that changed everything. The morning after that kitchen table conversation, Marcus did something most men in his position would not do. He asked,
not defensively, not with the energy of a man trying to fix something so he could feel better about himself. He sat across from Diane with his phone face down and his coffee going cold, and he said, "I want to understand what you actually need, not what I assumed, what you actually need. Will you tell me?"
And Diane, who had spent 9 years expecting that question to never arrive, told him. What followed was not a single conversation. It was many, some of them uncomfortable, some of them revelatory, some of them, frankly, overdue by about 8 years.
But what Marcus learned in those conversations, and what the research has been documenting for decades while most people were not reading it, broke down into something straightforward and specific. She needed time, not more effort in the wrong direction. Time, unhurried, unrushed, genuinely patient time, devoted to understanding her body, rather than moving through it toward a familiar destination.
She needed to feel desired before she could feel aroused. Not desired in general, desired specifically, the particular woman she was on the particular evening they were together. Not the routine assumption of closeness that had replaced genuine pursuit somewhere in year 4.
And she needed what Dr. Emily Nagoski of Smith College describes as a released break, the removal of the cognitive and emotional noise that prevents most women from being fully present in intimacy, the mental load, the unresolved tension, the low-grade background hum of everything she was still carrying when she came to bed.
Marcus had not known that the break existed. He had been pressing the accelerator for years without realizing the brake was still on.
What the research says she actually needs. Let's build on the previous video and go deeper, because the story of Marcus and Diane is not just one couple's experience. It is the documented, researched experience of the majority of heterosexual couples in long-term relationships. A landmark study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior covering over 52,000 adults found that the orgasm gap, the difference between male and female orgasm rates in heterosexual sex, was not explained by biology or desire. It was explained by what was and was not happening during sex. The study identified the specific factors most strongly associated with female orgasm. They were, in order, longer duration of sexual activity, oral sex, manual genital stimulation, and a partner who expressed genuine interest in her pleasure. Notice what is not on that list. Penetration alone. Duration of penetration alone. Any single act performed without attention to her specific response.
Dr. Debbie Herbenek at Indiana University, one of the most widely cited sex researchers in the world, has spent her career studying what women report as the actual conditions for orgasm. Her findings are consistent across every study she has published.
The average woman, with appropriate stimulation and genuine partner presence, can reach orgasm in 10 to 15 minutes, some faster, rarely longer. The word appropriate is doing critical work in that sentence. Appropriate means clitoral. The clitoris, as Dr. Helen O'Connell's groundbreaking anatomical research established, is not the small external structure most men were taught about in whatever passed for sex education.
It is a substantial internal organ with 2 legs wrapping around the vaginal canal, containing approximately 8,000 nerve endings, more than any structure in the human or female body, and it is the primary anatomical source of female orgasm.
Appropriate means oral. Research published in the Journal of Sex Research found that women are significantly more likely to reach orgasm when oral sex is included in the encounter, not as a preliminary act, but as a central one.
Attentive, unhurried, genuinely engaged oral stimulation of the clitoral area is the most reliably effective path to female orgasm that the research has consistently identified.
Appropriate means the inclusion of additional stimulation when needed. Dr. Herbenek's team found that women who incorporated a vibrator into partnered sex reported significantly higher rates of orgasm and, critically, no reduction in intimacy or connection.
A man who welcomes this is not being replaced. He is demonstrating that her pleasure matters more than his ego. That is in itself deeply attractive.
The physiological and psychological conditions for sustained female arousal shift after male orgasm. The man who ensures she arrives before he does is not following a rule. He is demonstrating a fundamental understanding of and respect for her experience.
What Marcus did next, and what you can do. Marcus did not become a different man overnight, but he did become a more informed one, and the changes he made were not complicated. They were specific, consistent, and grounded in a simple reorientation. Her experience first.
He started taking the mental load seriously, not occasionally, consistently. He stopped waiting to be asked. He started noticing what she was carrying and removing it before she had to say a word. Because he had finally understood that a woman who arrives at intimacy, still managing the logistics of the household, is a woman whose brake is already engaged before he has touched her. He started asking, regularly and without defensiveness, what felt good. Not in a clinical way, in the way of a man who is genuinely curious about the person he is with. That curiosity, demonstrated over weeks, not announced in a single conversation, rebuilt something in Diane that she had quietly packed away. He stopped treating physical intimacy as a destination and started treating it as a space where her experience was the point, where time was available, where nothing was rushed, where her body was approached with the patience and attention of a man who genuinely wanted to understand it rather than move through it. And he talked to her, not about techniques, about what she felt, what she wanted, what had been missing. Those conversations, uncomfortable at first, and then increasingly easy, and then something they both looked forward to, became the foundation on which everything else was rebuilt. 9 months after that kitchen table conversation, Diane told Marcus something he had not heard in years. She told him she felt chosen. Not just loved, chosen. Specifically, deliberately, with full knowledge of who she was and what she needed. That word, chosen, is from Dr. Marta Miana's research at the University of Nevada on female desire in long-term relationships. Her studies found that the single most consistent driver of women's sustained desire for a long-term partner was the felt sense of being specifically wanted, not assumed, not taken for granted, but actively, consciously desired by the person who already had them. Marcus had stopped choosing Diane in the ways that she could feel, and when he started again, informed, intentional, and genuinely committed, she came back to him completely. The thing nobody says out loud. Here is the thing nobody says out loud in conversations about male and female intimacy. Most men are not failing their partners because they do not care. They are failing them because they were never taught. The education system did not teach this. The cultural conversation around sex did not teach this. The performance-focused, male-centered model of intimacy that most men absorbed from every available source did not teach this. And so men like Marcus, good men, loving men, men who would do anything for the people they are with, have been operating in the dark for years, trying hard in the wrong direction, wondering why the distance keeps growing, despite the effort they are clearly making. The gap is not a character gap, it is an education gap. And education gaps are closable. Dr. Emily Nagoski makes this point with particular force in Come As You Are. She argues that the most important thing a man can bring to his partner's sexual experience is not technique, not stamina, not any physical quality, but the genuine, demonstrable belief that her pleasure matters, that her body is worth understanding, that her experience in intimacy is as worthy of his full attention as anything else he takes seriously in his life. That belief, embodied consistently in the time taken, the attention given, the willingness to learn and ask and stay curious, is what Diane felt when Marcus finally brought it. And it is what every woman in a relationship with a good man is quietly, patiently waiting to feel. Marcus and Diane are still together, not because they pushed through, not because love was enough on its own, but because one of them was willing to say the uncomfortable thing, and the other was willing to hear it and act on it. If you are watching this and you recognize something of Marcus in yourself, good. Recognition is where everything starts. Here is your call to action, not a technique, not a checklist. 3 things. First, Watch the previous video in this series if you have not. Second, have the conversation now, not with an agenda, just the question, is there something I haven't understood about what you need? Ask it, mean it, then listen without defending.
Third, decide that her experience matters as much as yours, not as a performance of a good partner, as an actual, daily, embodied decision. Because the man who makes that decision consistently, who brings patience, curiosity, and genuine attention to the person he chose, is the man she will never stop choosing back.
You were not taught this. That was not your fault. But you know it now. What you do with it, that part is yours. Subscribe to the Better Man Project. Share this with someone who needs to hear Marcus's story. And we will see you in the next one.